All right, welcome back, everybody. I pray y'all are having a great weekend as we give the Most High all the honor, the glory, and all the praise and worship. My title now says, When Your Praise Affect Other People. When your praise affects other people. Welcome back to another Bible study. This is one of these videos where we examine ourselves. When we look in the mirror and ask yourself, is my praise really genuine? Is my praise and worship toward the Most High, is it so real that it affects other people in a good way? Do it really affect people so hard where they'll say, man, I want to meet, I want to know the God that you serve. I see it in your actions. I see your praise because a lot of people are faking with their praise and worship, but then there are a lot of people that's real with their worship, you know. So I want to come back with this Bible study right here. And that those of y'all that's been watching me for a while, y'all know that I always talk about the three P's, especially in my old videos. And what are the three P's? Press, pray, and praise. Oftentimes in my old videos, I would say I have to press my way through. I have to pray my way through. I have to praise my way through. Those three P's are the key for me. And I use it in my life on a daily basis. No matter what I'm going through, I'm going to keep pressing. No matter how hard my situation is, I'm going to keep praying. No matter how terrible it is, I'm going to keep praising. In this life, I always press my way through, pray my way through, praise my way through. So I want to preach about Paul and Silas for a moment when they was beaten and thrown into prison. But they praise was so hard that it shook the prison up. It shook the penitentiary up. We see a lot of people nowadays shouting, dancing, speaking in tongues, prophesying and laying hands. But the question is, how many of them are sincere with it? How much of it is real? And are they praising the Most High, or do they have a demonic spirit? So if you have your Bibles up, you want to just follow along. Let me pull it back up on the screen here. I'm going back to Acts chapter 16, and we're gonna deal with verses 19 through 40. I'm gonna paraphrase the first part so we can just, you know, go on down to verses 19 to 40. I want to take us to right to verse 19 because in the first chapter we see when Paul asked Timothy, his young helper, his young protege. Timothy was like a young son in the ministry to Paul. You know, Paul saw something in him, and he used Timothy for great kingdom building. And then we see the vision of the Macedonian. Then after that, that's what brings us up to Lydia's conversion. And that's what got them thrown in the jail. One day when they was on their way to the place of prayer, they met this woman by the name of Lydia. She was a fortune teller. She was demonic. She was a slave woman, as the Bible may say. She had a spirit so deep in her that it was letting her predict the future. And anybody know about when you start talking about predicting the future and that's witchcraft, fortune telling, it's all demonic. So she was full of all that, but she made a lot of money doing it. And her owners loved it. Or some may say her slave masters, they made a killing with her through fortune telling. So she saw Paul and Silas and some of the others, and when she saw them, she started following them. These ones here, they servants of the Most High God. They out here proclaiming a way of salvation. And Lydia did that for many days, the Bible say. And it got to the point where it just got to Paul. It annoyed Paul so much. So Paul finally turned and said to that spirit, in the name of Jesus Christ, I command you to come out of her. And when Paul did that, the Bible say that spirit left her at that very moment. Which brings us right here to verse 19. This is what got them locked up. It says, and when the masters saw that the hope of their gains was gone, they caught Paul and Silas and threw them into the marketplace unto the rulers. Anytime you start messing with somebody's money, especially something wicked like this, They want you dead. See, when Paul cast that mess out of that woman, the slave masters didn't like it. So these brothers, they're messing up. They messing up our money. Get them, throw them in the prison, lock them up. So verse 20 says, and brought them to the magistrate, saying, these men, being Jews, do exceedingly trouble in our city. So they told the officials, in our day's time, we'll say they told the police, these men here, these Jews are upsetting our city. Now, there was other ones with Paul and Silas, but by them, being Jews, they singled out Paul and Silas. They didn't like it. They looked like Jews. Their whole appearance. So once they saw them two, that stuck out, and that they had to get their hands on Paul and Silas. Verse 21 says, and teach customs which are not lawful for us to receive, neither to observe, being Romans. So they were saying that they are telling us to do things. We Romans. We're not allowed to do this. It's something how people's titles, their names, will stop them from stopping them to, convert over because we this, we that. It's a lot of people like that right now. Well, I'm this, I'm that, I'm not. In our custom, we don't do this. People are gonna let their customs, their traditions of men, what they was brought up on, and it had nothing to do with getting into heaven. They gonna let that help them miss heaven. It's like that a lot of places, y'all, a lot of people. But they didn't like this, so they wanted Paul and Silas pretty much dead. So look at verse 22. And the multitude rose up together against them, and the magistrates rent off their clothes and commanded to beat them. So we see this huge crowd. They join in together, and they start attacking Paul and Silas. Tore their clothes off, beat them badly. Verse 23 says, and when they had laid many stripes upon them, they cast them into the prison, charging the jailer to keep them safely. Wow. Beat them up for doing what? Throw them in the prison for doing what? Teaching, preaching. What happened to our Savior? Same thing. Beaten, put on the cross. For what? My point is, don't think because you're a child of the King, people are going to let up on you and you're not going to be persecuted. You're not going to go through nothing. Now, I'm not saying you're going to get beat physically, but some have. But you would get towed up for being a child of the King. That's why so many people, when it gets tough, they jump out of the race. Look at verse 24. Who, having received such a charge, thrust them into the inner prison and made their feet fast in the stocks. In other words, this jailer, he took Paul and Silas deep inside the prison, chained their feet down with some heavy blocks of wood, making sure they can't get out, can't go nowhere, want them to have the worst of the worst. Verse 25 says, and at midnight, Paul and Silas prayed and sang praises unto God, and the prisoners heard them. This brings me to my title once again. When your praise affects others. Look at verse 25. It says, and at midnight, Paul and Silas, they didn't only just pray, they sung praises unto the Most High. They didn't just pray, they put some praising, some singing with their prayer. And the Bible say the others heard them. See, I hear a lot of praising, and I hear people singing nowadays. And I see a lot of people after they get through with it, even while they're going through doing it, there's no power in it. There's no effect behind it. Because some people are singing to get attention. Some people are singing and praying to show out. Some people doing things just so others can see, and they want that credit. Let the church say amen. But verse 26 says, and suddenly there was a great earthquake, so that the foundations of the prison were shaken. And immediately all the doors were opened and everyone's bands were loose. So after they prayed and sung praises. An earthquake, a huge earthquake, shook the foundations of the penitentiary. Immediately, the doors was open. Everyone who was banned was loose. Now, look at verse 27. That's the kind of praise I'm talking about. And the keeper of the prison woke up out of his sleep. Seeing the prison doors open, he drew out his sword and would have killed himself. Why would he kill himself? Because back in those days, if you was a prison guard and your prisoners got loose, that was your life. They didn't have no pity on you like the old folks say. They would have no pity on you if your prisoner got away because you was in charge of keeping them. But right before he was about to kill himself, Paul told him something with a loud voice in verse 28. Verse 28 says, but Paul cried with a loud voice saying, do thyself no harm, for we are all here. We are all still here. Have nobody escaped, nobody ran away. Verse 29 says, then he called for a light and sprang in and came trembling and fell down before Paul and Silas. Verse 30 says, and brought them out and said, sirs, what must I do to be saved? Boy, when your praise affects others, they praise, they singing, they worship was so genuine. It was so real that it made the prison guard say, what must I do to be saved? How many times have we prayed, sung, praised right now? And somebody came up to you saying, what must I do to be saved? How many church buildings are up and a lot of people are singing and praying, but how many people are coming to Christ on the real? Or are you just singing? Some folks just making a lot of noise. I ain't say everybody. But how many times do we see people coming to the Most High off of somebody else's praise, off somebody else's prayer? What must I do to be saved? Verse 31 says, and they said, believe on the Lord Jesus Christ, and thou shalt be saved in thy house. Verse 32 says, and they spoke unto him the word of the Lord and to all that were in his house. Not only was they just speaking to him, everybody in his house. Look at that. Look at verse 33. The jailer, and he took them the same hour of the night, washed their stripes, and was baptized, he and all his straightway. He took them to his own house. Look at verse 34. And when he had brought them into his house, he set meat before them and rejoiced, believing in God with all his house. This let me know if this jailer had a brother, a wife, a sister, kids, whoever was in this man's house. Oh, teach Holy Spirit. They came to the Most High. This same man that locked them up changed his life. This same man that locked them up took them to his own home, invited them in, washed their stripes, gave them something to eat. He fed them. He was so happy. He was so full of joy because he hadn't even seen the effects of the Most High until then. Look at verse 35. And when it was day, the magistrate sent the servant saying, let those men go. Verse 36 says, and the keeper of the prison told this saying to Paul, the magistrates have sent to let you go. Now therefore depart and go in peace. What's wrong with that picture? Oh, they want us to be secretly moved out of here. See, Paul didn't like this. You came and snatched me in front of everybody. Now you want me to sound just like our Savior, don't it? Oh, y'all gonna come get me in the dark. It's amazing how folks are. Verse 37 says, but Paul said unto them, they have beaten us openly uncondemned, being Romans, and have cast us into prison. And now they do thrust us out privately. Nay, verily, but let them come themselves and fetch us out. In other words, Paul said, let's look at it like this. Paul told these officials, the police, we are Roman citizens. And the Roman officials had us beaten all out in public. We didn't even get a trial. They just threw us in the jail. Now they think they can just secretly send us away. Nah, they can't do us like this. They're going to have to come here themselves and let us out. See, I love Paul, man. Paul was just real. Look at verse 38. And the surgeons told these words unto the magistrates, and they feared when they heard that they were Romans. When these officials, when they told the officials, told the police, whatever you want to call them, that Paul and Silas were Roman citizens, these officials got real scared. They got real afraid. They knew they messed up. But verse 39 says, and they came and besought them and brought them out, and desired them to depart out of the city. So they came and they apologized to Paul and Silas. They led them out of the jail and asked them to please just go ahead and leave the town. See, when you got the favor of the Most High on you, who else was in prison, thrown in the jail, shook up the jail in so many ways? Who else got favor thrown on them when his own brothers just got rid of him, left him for dead? Joseph. When you have the favor, it's like a force field around you. You can't even be touched. The Most High will make so many enemies bow down to you. When your praise is so genuine, when your praise affects other people, think about what they do to the Most High. Verse 40 as I close says, and they went out of the prison and entered into the house of Lydia. And when they had seen the brethren, they comforted them and departed. But look at this. This is what I love about ministry. They went right back to Lydia, the one who used to be a fortune teller, the one that got them in trouble. They went back to her house, straight back to the house of Lydia, excuse me. And when they saw the Lord's followers, they encouraged them. Then they left. Man, how many people will go back to somebody that you know? That's the reason kind of why you got into trouble. But see, when you have the power of the Most High, you forgive, you love, you move on. When my praise affects other people, let your praise affect other people as I close, y'all. Let your praise and your worship be real. Keep being obedient. And the ones that can't stand it, don't even worry about them. It's not about them no way. But if you can just reach one person, if you reach it more than one, amen, all praises to the Most High. But if you can just reach one person out of 1,000, all glory to the Most High when your praise affects other people. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful, blessed day.